How do you approach it? Especially, I mean, 40 different family or 40 different individuals,
Hmm.
like that's
Yeah.
different. So are you approaching it like on an assessment? Like y'all start with an assessment and then you
Mhm.
figure out what kind of learner they are and work from there.
Yeah.
How does that look?
So, um, I assess them in my own way because the most important thing, really, like, yes, grades are very important, but on a different level, the thing that's really, really important is their state test that they take. Um, which how it works is that it's called the FAST, FAST. It's called the FAST. And what happens, like, let's say that you have a fourth grader. Your fourth grader is going to take that test 3 times throughout the year, but the only time that it really, really matters is that last time that they take it. So they start their fourth grade year and they take the FAST in August, and they're tested like they've already been through their whole fourth grade year. So it's like they're being tested on things that they don't really know, but we're going to see how much you know. So then we get to December/January, depending on when the school wants to take it again. They've only been through about half of the curriculum or half of the standards, but they should have progressed a little bit. And
Mm.
that's usually after students take the fast the second time, that's usually when my phone starts blowing up. Um, because it's there, the scale is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you make a 1 or a 2, you're below. 3, 4, 5 is you're good. And so, like, if you're making a 1 at that point, you should probably look into
There's
tutoring or
concern,
getting
yeah.
extra help, because you should at least be maybe a high 2, 3, even if your student is struggling. Um, but yeah, I how I do, like, I wanna say 90% of my kids are because of the fast, and so we don't even do really homework. Maybe if a kid is like, "I forgot to do my homework, can we do it really quick?"
Mhm,
But most of it is preparing for the fast.
mhm.
Um, how I assess them is that it takes about 1 to 2 sessions, but probably the first 2 sessions where I go through the whole standard all the standards that they have to know. Like, let's say we're doing math, I go through all of the 4th grade math standards, and I'm just testing them on how much they know. So, like, if we're doing math, I'll go through and give them, like, practice questions, and if they know how to do it, they know how to do it. If they don't, they don't. And I rank it like red. I put red highlight means they don't know it at all. Yellow means kinda. Green is like they're good. Usually all of the standards in the beginning are green and then the ones at the end are red because they really haven't learned it yet. They're gonna learn it in April or probably now, March. But but yeah, and I red is my priority. That's what we're gonna hit first. And the good thing is that usually when I hit the red stuff first, maybe like a couple weeks later, they're like, well, we're just now learning this. And I kind of knew what the teacher was talking about. And so,
Nice.
um, but yeah, I do it my own way. If the parent does want to get an actual like numerical number or assessment, I do have I don't know if you've heard of the MAP, the NWEA
Mm.
MAP. I have a homeschool method of do it's a homeschool company that does the map that you can pay for your homeschool students to take it and see their progress. So I do have that as well that I offer to parents if they really want the but I type everything out to parents and I send it to them. I'm always communicating with them on how their student is doing and progressing and what they need to work on at home. Um, I will say that's a very important part of tutoring, um, as well. Like, I will I'll give an example. I have a 4th grader that she struggles with math, and in 4th grade, that's when you start to get into, um, fractions, like real fraction work, get into decimals, like, there's a lot of things that you start to get into that they haven't really tapped into. But one skill that you have to have before you do all of that is knowing your times tables. You have to
Mhm.
know how to multiply, right? But if she doesn't know how to multiply, she's not going to know how to do everything else. And I think, as parents, if your teacher or your tutor tells you, like, hey, you should probably work on this at home because we only have this much time at school, or we have this much time in a tutoring session, and that should be a skill that you know already. Um, I think it's really important to take that feedback and try as much as you can at home to do it too. Um, that's one thing I would, say to parents for
Yeah.
sure, because that's what's going to bring them, to being more confident, like going back to that.
Indeed. Yeah, I know a lot of times grades don't necessarily reflect the actual
Yeah, they
knowledge that
don't.
the young person has.
Yeah.
Recently the news has shared two young people that have sued the public
Mm,
school system for their lack of preparation, they said, as far as reading and
really?
writing. Yes, a young lady graduated with honors, and she said that she cannot efficiently read and write. And then a
Wow.
boy, also a young man, graduated, and he said he can't read. So
Wow.
that has been a thing. I was going to ask, are there any commonalities amongst your students that you see like they're lacking as far as the 40 that you have?
Um, well, I will say that I definitely like I have a handful of parents that have told me, like, I don't get why they're not doing good in their like fast because their grades are all A's.
Mm.
And I'm like, well, you know, I don't know if every school is just, I don't want to say that the teacher's not being honest, but like it's just that sounds crazy. Um, there's a lot. I was a teacher, like there's a lot that goes into it. Like if the school has a certain way of like what they need to do with their grading system, but we don't know.
Yeah.
But
I know, and Florida's on a 10 points grading scale also. So it's kind of easy to get an A in Florida. Like it's not
yeah,
really that
yeah,
hard. Like
yeah, and that's why I usually don't really look at grades first. I look at the fast scores first when we start our tutoring.
and then
Um,
with those though, those would kind of be like, you know, because okay, so one, I'm not a good test taker. Never have been. Like it took
yeah,
me forever to get my teaching license with the praxis
yeah,
too. Okay. So also with my permit, like my driving permit too. Go all the way back to that.
yeah.
But just testing in general has never been a strong suit for me. Um
Mhm.
and definitely not when it was on Scantrons and we were bubbling. You know, you miss
Oh
one
my
bubble
God.
and then your whole life is over. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So that can, reflect also with a kid's knowledge, not being
Mhm.
able to be presented in the manner that they're able to present it in. Because,
Yeah.
circling A, B, C, D doesn't work for everyone. Some people are able to, like, if you were to ask
Yeah.
them the question and have them verbally explain it to you, then they can boom, 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 boom. Or if you were to ask
Mhm.
them to draw something out for you, they can boom, 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 boom. But
Yeah.
when it comes to actually reading the question and choosing between A, B, C, D, it's like,
Mhm.
oh man, this is too much. So it's like,
Yeah.
it's do we ever really get the true reflection of a kid's knowledge through, those
Yeah.
type of dynamics, grades and testing in general?
I mean, I that that's a hard question because like I know like there are some times where sometimes we study for a test. Like and this happens, I don't want to say often, but like when it does happen, I'm like, oh, that's weird. Like we spent like 3 sessions working on this, and I feel like you knew this very, very well. And then the
Mm,
test comes around and, they make like a 60, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't think you should have bombed it. I think
right.
you should have at least done a little better than that. But my first question is always, how did you feel when you were taking the
I
test? Were you
know, right?
nervous?
Yes.
And it's always a, yeah, I was nervous taking the test. So
right, get to sweating and everything. And then it's
yeah.
like, I mean, there's so many cause and effect factors. You have to ask, like, did you eat
Hmm.
breakfast? Like, were you thinking about
Yeah.
something? Did you get enough rest that night
Yeah.
before? Like, there's so many different factors
Hmm.
that go into preparation or being prepared,
Hmm.
so to speak, for something that is just
Yeah.
like, it's just, I don't know, it's a gamble. It's a gamble either
Yeah.
way. Even if you do
I
go in
know.
there with the knowledge, it's just like, is it gonna come out how I
Hmm.
need it to? Do I remember? Oh, I need to,
Yeah.
like, so
Yeah. Especially like I remember last year, probably the hardest I ever worked slash was exhausted. Like I was very close to like burning out. Was end of like after spring break to May, which after
mm,
spring break was like the last week of March to the beginning of May, because it was like everybody was getting tutoring for the
mm,
fast, and it was like we were all just like working hard. Um, and then like I got pretty nervous too because like parents would start sending me their kids' scores, and I'm like, oh God, I hope they did good.
um,
But if I'm getting nervous, like I can't
right.
imagine when the kid is taking it, like it's crazy.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
is. I know I used to talk to a lot of honor students, AP
Hmm.
even, and they would be
Yep.
like, they had the same anxieties. Like, even with how smart people deemed them to be, they were
Yeah.
anxious about the test. Like, they would lose
Hmm.
sleep and everything else.
Yeah.
So it's a lot that goes into those standardized tests. But
Yeah.
I'm glad that you're able to help families with this.
Yeah. We're trying the best we can.
You are doing, love. You
Yes.
are doing. You mentioned burned out, like burning out.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
have tried to make it a habit of asking guests, how do
Hmm.
you self-care? What do you do to
Oh.
make sure that you are replenished? Because you, like you say, you working from
Hmm.
9 to 9 a day,
I
girl.
know. I mean, yeah, like I'm doing 9:30 to 9 today.
Sounds
But
crazy.
I know.
Sounds like abuse.
I well, I will say when I was teaching, I was not putting myself first. I was putting everyone else above like my own health at one point. Like um I was waking up at 4:45 in the morning and wasn't going to bed until midnight. When I say
Mm,
that I was like, and that's because I was trying to, make money because I was not making enough money. And I was tutoring and I was coaching two different sports with two different teams and also teaching. And like, really, I was not getting enough sleep.
yeah, your
I
plate
was
was
not
full,
doing,
girl.
I was not doing anything like fun for myself. Like I was
Mm,
just, doing the same thing every day and it would it took a super big toll on me. And I know now like I have the opportunity to make my own schedule. And like today, even though like oh, I'm working like a lot, but yesterday was more of like a chill day because I want to make sure that I'm having time to be able to spend for myself, that I need like rest. That's one thing that I have always worked on my whole life because I don't give myself rest. And so like
mm.
tomorrow I have time where I'm going to be able to rest. I also like to pour into stuff like I love playing volleyball. I play volleyball almost every day.
Aw.
I also really find it important to go to the gym, and I do more like sporty things to kind of decompress. Um, but yeah, I mean, I like spending time with my friends too on the weekend. Like I used to work when I say I would when I said yes to everyone back in the day, I would work 7 days a week. I was working
Mm.
Saturday and Sunday, and I was saying yes to everyone. And it got to a point where I'm like, I'm gonna quit tutoring. Like I need like I make my own schedule. Why am I doing this? So now now I only work Monday to Friday. If
Mm.
when it gets to fast season, I will say I will open up Saturday. It's getting closer to the fast, and some parents need more. So I'll maybe put like one or two sessions on a Saturday. Um, but yeah, I think that if you're a person like me and you're a go-getter, like you still want to find time to rest. That's very important because you want to be your best self for your kids, right? That's always important. So, um, yeah, yeah, that's it.
Oh, thank you for sharing, love.
Yeah.
And